Chào mừng quý vị và các bạn đến với chương trình Đồng tiền thông minh trên kênh truyền hình FPNC. Và trong chương trình hôm nay chúng ta sẽ thảo luận về hai khái niệm. Thứ nhất là Corporate Governance hay thường được gọi là quản trị doanh nghiệp tại Việt Nam. Tuy nhiên khi dịch ra chữ quản trị doanh nghiệp thì cũng chưa thể bao gồm được hết ý nghĩa của từ Corporate Governance. Và một khái niệm thứ hai cũng còn khá mới mẻ tại Việt Nam, đó chính là sản phẩm bảo hiểm Directors and Officer Insurance hay còn gọi là bảo hiểm trách nhiệm giám đốc và cán bộ quản lý. Nhận thức được vai trò quan trọng của Corporate Governance tại các doanh nghiệp, thì ngày 5 tháng 6 vừa qua, Tập đoàn Bảo hiểm AIG đã phối hợp với Ủy ban Chứng khoán Nhà nước SSC đồng tổ chức một buổi hội thảo về chủ đề quản trị doanh nghiệp hay còn gọi là Corporate Governance. Và nhân chương trình ngày hôm nay, chúng tôi mời đến trường quay ông Jason Kelly, là Phó Chủ tịch Tập đoàn Bảo hiểm AIG, phụ trách bảo hiểm trách nhiệm giám đốc khu vực châu Á-Thái Bình Dương, sẽ cùng chia sẻ với chúng ta về hai khái niệm Corporate Governance, quản trị doanh nghiệp, và sản phẩm bảo hiểm trách nhiệm giám đốc và cán bộ quản lý Directors and Officer Insurance. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
So before we get into the details of corporate governance, I want to play a video clip, a short clip to give the audience a bit understanding about the general pictures of what corporate governance is.
Okay.
Vào ngày 7 tháng 11 năm 2006, Việt Nam đã trở thành thành viên thứ 150 của Tổ chức Thương mại Thế giới WTO.
So we can see how it's important for Vietnam to apply corporate governance, especially when we are getting more integrated into the world economy since the accession to the World Trade Organization in 2006. But from your perspective, could you describe in your word the definitions of corporate governance? Because a lot of Vietnamese people, a lot of Vietnamese businessmen still haven't paid attention to this concept yet and misunderstand when it's translated to Vietnamese.
Okay, sure. So corporate governance in its simplest form is a set of relationships that involves the board of directors, the senior management team, the company shareholders, and other stakeholders. It also involves a set of processes that help advance the company's objectives, but doing so in a transparent way.
So why is it important for an emerging market like Vietnam?
Well, it's important for an emerging market like Vietnam because it brings transparency to the process. That transparency actually builds on investor confidence. That allows companies in Vietnam to attract foreign direct investment, right? That helps ultimately to expand the economy.
So you mentioned transparency, and transparency is a big problem in Vietnam right now. And the government is trying so hard to improve the transparency in order to reduce corruption. So what is the link between corporate governance and corruption?
Well, corporate governance has a true focus on transparency. So one of those focuses is actually bringing in outside directors into the business. So by having outside directors who are sitting on the board on behalf of shareholders looking into the business, it actually helps bring a light into the business that may have been shielded by some of the inside directors or some of the inside management team.
And for the standards of corporate governance, what is the key differences between state-owned companies, private companies, and let's say joint ventures companies?
Sure. So there are many different standards of corporate governance, right? And corporate governance applies not just to public stockholding companies, but also not-for-profit organizations. And so the larger your organization is, and the more geographies that you operate in, the more shareholders that you have, the higher level of standard is going to be your corporate governance requirements. if you're a family-owned business run by a mother and a father or by family members, you don't necessarily need to have transparency into your business because you're living that every day. But if you're a shareholder of a company, you want to know that actually there are a group of people on that board of directors that are looking after your interests as a shareholder in the company, and that people on the inside of that business aren't actually actively trying to take assets out of that business.
A lot of Vietnamese businessmen still mistakenly understand between the concept of corporate management and corporate governance. Part of it because of the translation from English to Vietnamese. So for the people who understand corporate governance as a corporate management, what do you want to tell them in order to understand deeply about the concept?
So, I mean, this isn't only just a Vietnam issue. So there are probably plenty of emerging markets where the concept of corporate governance might more align itself to the word compliance, for example.
Yeah.
And corporate governance really is a corporate ethos. It's a culture, right? That it starts at the chairman of the board and it feeds its way all the way down through the organization. So it has a goal of advancing the corporate objectives. It has a goal of advancing the business objectives of the company, but it wants to do so in a sustainable business way. Right? So that it's good for the shareholders, it's good for the stakeholders, it's good for the community at large, and it actually advances the economy, and in this case, the Vietnamese economy.
So from your experience, what kind of the lessons that we can learn from other markets such as Hong Kong that we can learn for Vietnam in terms of practicing this corporate governance concept?
Yeah, it's a great question. So Hong Kong in 2012 actually implemented a code provision. It's really a recommendation within the Hong Kong Stock Exchange that says Hong Kong listed companies should buy D&O insurance. And the reason why they should buy D&O insurance is because they felt that is one important step in good corporate governance practices. Now, the reason the Hong Kong Exchange wanted to do that is there's a fight for capital, right? If you're an institutional investor in California, right, you're looking across the Pacific and saying, where should I invest my money? If you feel like there's good corporate governance in a certain geography where there's good transparency, you're probably more inclined to invest your money there than you would in other geographies. So the Hong Kong Stock Exchange is saying, come to us, invest in our stock market because we have good corporate governance, we have good transparency, and you should feel confident that you can put your money with us.
So affecting the FDI, the foreign direct investment
That's
as
correct.
well.
That's correct.
So from Hong Kong experience, I mean, for business managers and business leaders, what is some of the challenging tasks that they have to deal with in order to practice corporate governance?
So corporate governance is more than just a process, right? Anybody can put something down on a piece of paper and say, these are the things that we need to do. But it actually, again, it's a corporate ethos. It's something you have to live every day. So it needs to be a part of the corporate culture. And so there's everything from risk management practices, which includes the purchase of insurance, which includes the purchase of directors and officers insurance. It also involves attracting the best people, right? So if you've been invited to sit on the board of directors of a company, that might feel like a great honor, but you're exposing yourself to an unlimited personal liability for the decisions you make on behalf of the organization. And so D&O insurance is one way to help with that in the drive for good corporate governance. But it's really a corporate culture and something you have to live and breathe every day. It's not something that wants to be done and dusted where you've put it on paper, right, and then you file it away and you wait till the next year to review your procedures.
Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing, and we'll come back after the break to talk more about the directors and officer insurance. Thank you. Thưa quý vị, vừa rồi là những chia sẻ của ông Jason Kelly, là Phó Chủ tịch của Tập đoàn Bảo hiểm AIG, phụ trách bảo hiểm trách nhiệm giám đốc khu vực châu Á-Thái Bình Dương. Quý vị có thể xem lại chương trình này trên trang web của kênh FPNC tại địa chỉ fpnc.vn. Chúng tôi sẽ còn quay trở lại sau ít phút nữa.